to talk about Game 4. And I want to start off by saying, do I think that the NBA Finals is over? No. I don't think that it's over. I think the Denver Nuggets played the best game that I've seen them play in the entire NBA Finals as they did in Game 4. It was the most complete effort from the Denver Nuggets offensively and defensively. To be able to hold the Miami Heat under 100 points means defensively they were clicking. I can go on and on about how the Denver Nuggets pretty much look crowned to win the NBA Finals and become champions. But the star of Game 4 for the Denver Nuggets was not a man named Nikola Jokic or Jamal Murray. It was Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon had 27 points, which he was the leading scorer for them. Joker got into a little bit of foul trouble, had 5 fouls, but had 23 points, and he had about 12 rebounds, so he had his double-double. Jamal Murray, 15 points, which for the Miami Heat, you accomplished kind of slowing him down and neutralizing him, but he decided to affect the game in other ways with 12 assists. That means that he was making sure that everyone was set up in their spots, distributing the ball, reading the right plays and the coverages of what he can do to attack, and contributing in a different way that didn't equal up to 20 or 30 points, but nevertheless a big impact. Caldwell Pope, 7 points. He still continues to struggle, but he had a timely basket in that fourth quarter when the Miami Heat started to go on a little run. And then you got Michael Porter Jr., better game than he's had throughout the finals, 11 points. He's still 0 from 3 from the three-point line from Game 4, 4 for 10 from the field. So not great. He's still not shooting great. He still hasn't found his rhythm. Maybe Game 5 is the game that he finds it. I wouldn't be surprised because now they're clicking. They're clicking. The Denver Nuggets are clicking. I already felt like they were the more complete team. They're a deeper team in terms of just who else they have on the bench. I said last time that for the Denver Nuggets to truly put the Miami Heat away, you would need a big game from Aaron Gordon because he has a mismatch every time he's down on the court, because the Miami Heat have no one that will be able to actually match up in size, speed, athleticism on Aaron Gordon, especially when he's getting the ball on the block, when he's kind of getting it on that baseline, being able to drive to the basket, or even if his back is against the basket and he's having to post up, he's able to move out of that. He's moving in and out of his cuts and in transition. He's able to attack the basket. The Miami Heat have no one to really be able to guard him, so they just needed to utilize the mismatch, which Aaron Gordon's going to win every time. Bruce Brown came to play in Game 4. I said last time that I felt like Bruce Brown had been struggling throughout this NBA Finals, which was so uncharacteristic of him because throughout the season and the playoffs, Bruce Brown was the guy that really used to put the dagger in teams just out of that second unit. Okay, Jamal's sitting. Joker's sitting. All right, I'll give you a bucket. I'll give you a consecutive bucket. And he was playing defense. In this NBA Finals, Bruce Brown has struggled. But guess what? Bruce Brown said, I'm here for the party. I'm here to contribute 21 points. And he really propelled them when they started to lose some of that momentum. We've said throughout a few games, the Denver Nuggets sometimes take their foot off the gas or they start to get kind of lackadaisical. You know, they don't keep their aggressiveness, and sometimes that's a problem, especially when you're playing a team like the Miami Heat who loves effort. They talk about Heat culture. Sometimes they forget the effort. And Bruce Brown is that guy for them that really gives that spark for them on that second unit. And that's what I saw in Game 4. That's why I say it was the most complete I've seen them. Defensively, they were clicking, but offensively, they were there. They started to lose a little bit. If you look back at Game 2 when the Miami Heat won, they went on a 15-2 run late in that fourth quarter. And then in this game, in Game 4, you started to see signs of that where the Miami Heat started going like a 7-0, 8-0 run. And then the Denver Nuggets, with their experience, they have learned a few things throughout this NBA Finals. They still attacked. Bruce Brown came up. Aaron Gordon was still doing his thing. Jamal Murray distributing the ball. They started running one of their favorite plays with Jamal Murray in that back screen cut where he comes back up and gets the ball and is able to get his shot off. They started playing to their strengths and didn't get rattled by that run, which in other times they have, but they handled it so well, which I think talks a lot about just how they've learned and matriculated through this NBA Finals. For Jamal Murray to have 15 points and for Joker, in a sense, to still have a huge game, but not a huge game, for the impact to be Aaron Gordon and Bruce Brown says a lot about the Denver Nuggets. We talk so much about Coach Spo and how he puts confidence into the Miami Heat. A lot should be said about Coach Mike Malone and his feistiness and his his attitude towards this thing that the Denver Nuggets are doing, which is that you got to have some edge. You got to go out there and take back what's yours. He's instilling them a confidence to trust Bruce Brown in those moments and say, I know you've struggled, but do your thing. To say, Aaron Gordon, do your thing. These guys have the same confidence that Coach Mike Malone trusts them to do what they do best. And he loves this team. You could tell he knows that this team, when they are clicking, no one can really beat them. And that's what you saw. You saw Joker have so emotion on the sideline as they're scoring. And we don't always see that from him. He's more of a stone cold guy, chilling. But this time you saw the emotion, because then you start to understand the moment, the magnitude that we are one win away from winning an NBA championship. We are one win away from achieving our goal. We are literally one win away, a few days away. Monday, the trophy will be in the house. And we will have the chance to hold that up. The moment starts to get to you and you understand that. And obviously the Denver Nuggets should be very proud. You knew the Miami Heat would come out strong and aggressive. They don't want to end this. They don't want to go back to Denver down 3-1. That's not ideal. That's not great. You know, there's going to be a little bit of a punch in the mouth, but the Denver Nuggets took it. And they said, okay, we're going to show up. And that's the problem that has always ceased for other teams when it comes to the Denver Nuggets. They're just a completely deep team that has scorers on different levels when they get going. When we talk about the Miami Heat, Jimmy Butler, 25 points, Bam Adebayo, 20 points. Y'all can say what y'all want about Bam. I know he was on the chopping block, but I'm going to give him praise every time, because to be playing 40-something minutes, having to be the primary defender on a two-time MVP, to do your best to have to slow him down in any possible way that you can, and then also be looked at to score, have an offensive presence, is not easy. And Bam has really, really accepted the challenge and has stepped up for it. K-Love gave 12 points. I'm going to wait to talk about Gabe Vincent and Max Strus for the Miami Heat. I'm going to wait, because I have things to say about that. And I mean no harm or no foul to them, but there's something to be discussed about that. There's some accountability to be had for those two guys right there, but we'll get to that. Duncan Robinson, 12 points. Caleb Martin, 11 points. Kyle Lowry, 13 points. You know, I'll say this. The Miami Heat tried. They tried really hard. I think the problem is when others are not being able to contribute offensively that you expected them to, it makes it very difficult to be able to beat a Denver Nuggets team where others will start to step up and give big points in big minutes and be able to just hoop and be the propelling force for them. For the Miami Heat, you look at Duncan Robinson, you're like, okay, 12 is decent, right? You look at Caleb Martin, 11 is better than what he was doing in the previous game, so he's finding a rhythm. He's finding some type of momentum that he could keep carrying game after game, right? He could take that into game 5 and really start hitting some shots. Kyle Lowry, 13 points. Even that's a good contribution, right? Because there are two people in this box score that you're expecting to give you a lot more contribution, and they're not. So you do look to others. Now, this is where I want to talk about Gabe Vincent and Max Strus. I'm going to say it again. I mean no harm, no foul, no disrespect. I watched the Eastern Conference Finals where Gabe Vincent and Max Strus completely had these amazing games, to the point where when Jimmy Butler was not playing great offensively, when Bam was not playing great offensively, that these two guys were the guys. I'm confused on what's happening, because for Max Strus to have 0 points, for Gabe Vincent to have 2 points, for them both to play 19 minutes. I have problems with that, because I know what I saw against the Boston Celtics. People can say what they want, but I know what I saw. You were capable of scoring the basketball. You were able to affect the game offensively. I'm confused on why this is happening in the NBA Finals, and why I have not seen a good game really out of them, other than a decent game in game 2 when that was their only win of the series thus far. I don't know what's going on. I don't think the Denver Nuggets are showing any different defense than the Miami Heat have seen. I don't know if they just aren't locked in. I would hate to assume that because I know what I saw in the Eastern Conference Finals. That's no small feat. You went against a team that pretty much people picked to go to the NBA Finals before the season even started. And they were the Giant Slayers. They were the guys, doing the thing. And then you see the NBA Finals and you're starting to scratch your head. You're like, this is weird. What's going on? The Miami Heat can only go as far as the others take them as well. You finally have Bam offensively showing up. You have Jimmy giving you more points. I would be remiss not to think that if Gabe Vincent and Max Strus were to play even remotely close to what I saw in the Eastern Conference Finals, that maybe the Miami Heat have some more games under their belt in the series. Maybe this is a 3-2 series instead of a 3-1 series. I think it's not naive of us to think that if those two are giving more contribution that the Miami Heat actually win games or have a better opportunity. I think everyone expected that. You're in the starting lineup for that reason. That's what I would assume. It's very perplexing to me to see how offensively they have just went away. And I'm also going to say this to Boston Celtics fans. Y'all got to stop bringing up what happened in that Eastern Conference Finals. I've seen a lot of stuff from Boston Celtics fans talking about, I knew it was a fluke. Gabe Vincent and Max Strus and we would have been better. We shoulda, coulda, woulda all doggone day if we want to. We could say maybe this, maybe that. The truth of the matter is that y'all lost in the Eastern Conference Finals. And to be quite frankly honest, you lost by a big margin in Game 7. So there is no time for hypotheticals in terms of the Boston Celtics would be better in this series than the Miami Heat. We'll never know right now. I get it, Boston Celtics fans. You have to do anything to just feel better about the situation. And rightfully so. I can understand watching a final series and being like, these two guys are the reason we're not even playing in the NBA Finals, and these two guys aren't even playing well in their own NBA Finals. I can understand that, but y'all got to get a grip. You lost. It just really is that simple. Boston Celtics fans, please hear me when I say get a grip. I get it. It sucks. Your team is at home. They're not in the NBA Finals. They lost to the number 8 seed. They lost to the Miami Heat. Yes. I get it. Gabe Vincent and Max Strus are not playing good. That is no time for you to be like, well, see, this is why we should have been in there because we would have been a better opponent. We won't know this season. So get a grip. That's all I'm saying. Back to Gabe Vincent and Max Strus, though. You got to play better. That's pretty much the only answer in all of this. And it's such a plain and simple answer. It's not complicated. If Gabe Vincent and Max Strus give you what they have shown, maybe this is a different series. In terms of offensively, the Miami Heat will look better. Not saying that means that they win every game. That doesn't say that if Gabe Vincent and Max Strus step up, the Miami Heat win the finals. Absolutely not. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that if two players that were carrying a big offensive load and momentum in the Eastern Conference Finals and a lot of this playoffs actually show what we've seen throughout a good number of series, maybe you have a better shot. That's how I feel, and that's really the asterisk in all of this. That's the anomaly in all of this, that Gabe Vincent and Max Strus are not playing well. And that's a hard conversation to have going into Game 5 because then you have to look at Coach Spo and say, do you make changes? Do you take Gabe Vincent out and put Kyle Lowry in? Do you say, you know what, Max Strus, I'm going to put Duncan Robinson in? Do you say, okay, maybe I put Caleb Martin in to start? Is that a conversation to have in Game 5? Because they only had 19 minutes in Game 4. And to my knowledge, neither one was pending injury. Kevin Love had 18 minutes in the game, and he at least had 12 points. That's all I'm saying. It's a conversation to be had at some point. When you look at Game 5, what do the Miami Heat have to do? Offensively, you have to score the ball. I don't think defense is necessarily the hugest problem for them, but it does have to be a point of emphasis. I feel like they've lacked a little bit in these last two games, and that's going to have to be their anchor. Again, others are going to have to step up for the Miami Heat to even remotely have a chance to stop the Denver Nuggets from holding up a trophy after Game 5 on Monday. If you're the Denver Nuggets, you play ball how you've been playing ball. I don't think you have to change much. they're at a great pace of realizing how complete they can play when they are clicking on all cylinders of everyone contributing to their success. They've seen it in the season, but they finally saw it in the NBA Finals, what it really looked like when everyone's there, when they're playing their brand of basketball, and then there's no stopping them. And that's why they're in the position that they're in now, where it's like, oh, one went away. I always say to people when it comes to teams in the NBA Finals, and anything can happen, I love possibilities of craziness in the NBA Finals. Who wouldn't love another 3-1 comeback? It's very uncanny and unheard of to happen again. But, you know, Jimmy Butler said in the postgame that he's not worried. He feels like they can go to Denver and get one, then come back to Miami, get another, then have a game 7. You got to have some belief. Got to have some confidence. Why would he get scared now? He's had confidence this entire playoffs. Like I said, in most people's eyes, they're not even supposed to be this far. So it's not crazy for him to say these things and believe that it's not over. It's the first to 4, not the first to 3. It's always a fact. What scares me the most, though, is that the Denver Nuggets are also very aware that it's not the first to 3, but the first to 4. And after them winning game 4, there was emotion from them that I hadn't seen before. Emotion from Joker that I hadn't seen before, where he's showing emotion and clapping on the sideline and rooting for his team. Like, you could just tell when you know the moment is approaching you. The Denver Nuggets, after game 4, I felt like they understood, like, oh, this moment is here. We're one win away from accomplishing our goal of being NBA champions. We're going home to do it. I can only assume that they're on that plane like, okay, we're here. We're here. It's the trophy will be in the house Monday for us to win. That's why it's there. It's there for us. I would only expect for them to come out very aggressive. I would also believe that Denver Nuggets fans are going to be crazy there on Monday. It's a tall task of the Miami Heat to go in there and want to ruin the party. But the team to want to go ruin the party is the Miami Heat. And I always have to be very aware of that because the Miami Heat, they're not scared of no moments. They're just not. I will say, do I think they can do it? Anything is possible, right? Because I can sit here and say, no, I don't think they're going to end up winning. But then Monday comes and they win, and it's like, oh, like anything can happen. I still do believe that the Denver Nuggets are the more complete team, the better team in terms of just the pieces that they have. I think they're a more talented team. I think the Miami Heat need more scorers. I think that's a very requirement for this offseason that they must go get scorers. I think there might be a conversation about some trades, and maybe it's time that you bring another star to South Beach. I'll drop the nugget in. Maybe there's a conversation of Damian Lillard joining. I don't know. Something has to give this offseason. I think it's fair to say if you're able to get this far with what you have, I can only imagine what this looks like if maybe you add just another consistent scorer to go along with what's happening already. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there, right? We still have to get through this NBA Finals. I don't know. I'm looking at the Denver Nuggets after watching game 4. They just look like an NBA championship team. That's what they look like to me. They just look so well-rounded, so well coached from Mike Malone. He understands the moment. Even he said it, to see how they played in game 4, to buy into what they needed to do, to click on every level that they needed to. They won the fourth quarter when they started to lose a little bit of that momentum and that run that the Miami Heat went on that was similar to what happened in game 2. For them to say, okay, we're gonna stay the course of this thing. I feel like the Denver Nuggets understand how close it is. I feel like they could taste it. They could see it. So many emotions will be in that building knowing that the trophy is going to be there. It's present. I'm not rooting against the Miami Heat. I just understand that the Denver Nuggets are just a very, very good team. And it seems more probable that the Denver Nuggets will be NBA champions this season, and that it's very likely that Monday could be when that becomes a reality for them. But again, I count no Miami Heat team out after what I've seen from them throughout this playoffs. If this is a crazy game from Jimmy Butler where he decides we're not going home just yet, we need to take this thing back to South Beach for a game 6, then so be it. It wouldn't surprise me. It would be one to remember, a game to remember if that happens. The Miami Heat would have to play amazing. Gabe Vincent and Max Strus would actually have to decide to show up and contribute. You would have to have some big performances from Duncan Robinson and Caleb Martin off that bench, maybe even Kyle Lowry. It's a tall task. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens in Game 5 because there's only 2 results, right? Either the Denver Nuggets become NBA champions on Monday or the Miami Heat say, not yet. We got to go back one more. We'll see. It's Monday's going to be, I'm excited. I'm excited for Monday. Like, I'm over here like, yeah, hearing that national anthem, knowing that the trophy's there. You know, every broadcast is going to say, the trophy's here, the trophy's here. Like, the moment's going to be nuts. I will say for both teams that wins it, it's well-deserved, right? Either one. Denver Nuggets win, it's like, man, it's so well-deserved of you guys. And just the storyline of Jamal Murray and injury and comeback, him going to Coach Malone and saying, you know, are you going to trade me? Am I damaged goods? And Coach Malone saying, absolutely not. For Joker, 2-time MVP. For so many of these guys to buy in, it's a beautiful storyline for the Denver Nuggets. For the Miami Heat, it's a beautiful storyline. 8 seed, had to be in the play-in, had to do all these things to get there, beat all these teams, got Jimmy Butler. This is a team that felt a lot of pain when they lost in the bubble. So many storylines with that as well, right? So you can't lose either way with who wins, but only one can win. And we'll find out on Monday what happens. Do we have a new NBA champion? Or are the Miami Heat saying, nah, we're gonna keep playing? I don't know. I'm excited. I'm excited for Monday. And you best believe that we are going to talk about what happens after Game 5. So I'll be seeing y'all in a few days so we can talk about it.